Okay, we're going to move on. Items 6 and 7 both could be items that someone in the group, other than the board members, would want to address. You may be acknowledged and you may address the board, but we're going to hold those comments for 3 minutes. So we'll move on now to unfinished business discussion and or approval of baseball, softball playing signs. Comments from board members?
Well, the best thing that I can say in relation to this is that I left last Friday and I haven't gotten back, and it was wonderful to be away, so I didn't get any more comments. And I really opened up a Pandora's box when I got this one. How can I explain this? When people come back to me and they say, why aren't you using the football field? And I say, we are using the football field. And they say, it's the newest one around. Why aren't you using it? And I say, we are using it, but you're only using it a few times. And they say, what's going to happen when you go to another facility and you don't use the facility that's available? And I said, I don't know that. And so you have a situation where you are, what happens to the facility, what happens to the softball field when you don't use it? What's going to happen to the field? One of the softball field and the baseball field what's going to happen to that facility eventually? So you're not going to use the baseball field in one district. You're not going to. What's going to happen to those two facilities? I couldn't answer them. I didn't know what to say.
I would guess they would get used a little bit, wouldn't they, guys?
I would say the junior high program would use it, definitely.
So is that what the plan is, to have the junior high use them?
And the community, because you know what happens at Tolan Field.
Yeah.
A lot. And use those facilities for your little league and that kind of stuff.
The intent was never not to use the other fields. It's always a battle in the springtime with as many, and you want as many teams as possible so kids get an opportunity to play. To have a place for kids to play, a quality place for kids to play. And so I don't think it was any intent of anybody that facilities would not be used by someone.
So does a facility deteriorate if you are using it very, very little on a softball or baseball type facility? Does the ground hold? Is the ground solid? Is it going to be used if it doesn't use it for a month?
I would say what would deteriorate, Dave, is just the general care. And I guess when I say deteriorate, if no one took care of it at all, yes, you're going to have weeds growing in fences, you're going to have weeds coming up in your infield, obviously. It takes a lot of time to do that kind of stuff. And that's one of the reasons that we looked at doing what we're doing, is we don't feel we've done justice to the fields we have, because as coaches we can't spend enough time on 2 fields where we could on 1. In case in point down here where we have baseball the first half of the season, SAC, and then we come down here, if it wasn't for parents coming in and doing a wonderful job helping getting stuff ready, because we as a custodial staff first, we mow it, we'll do our best to trim it and all that, but when it comes to the fine tuning of the field, that's always been put on the coaches. If you're going to straighten out baselines, if you're going to do the grooming on the field, the stuff that really makes the field what it is has always been kind of left up to the coaches. And I guarantee you, with all the rain we had this last summer, and I've got 2 of the parents right here that come in and work their tails off before we move down here to help get the field. So to answer your question, yes, there will be some deterioration if nothing is done to it. At the same time, if those fields are being used by junior high clubs, whatever, and that field is being used and drugged on a regular basis, that makes a tremendous difference. But, so I don't know if I answered your question or not, but So there would be some deterioration if no one used it, but I don't foresee that happening. That was never anybody's intent. Our goal was that somebody would always be using the field.
Well, the plan too isn't let it turn back into a pasture. It's that we'll continue to mow it and we'll continue to maintain it, but there's a difference in maintaining a field and maintaining a varsity level field. And so the efforts would go into the varsity level field, which is where your best facility probably should be at the highest level of competition. So no, it's not going to turn into a...
So at least it gets used. And I didn't know what to say.
A lot of it goes back to the financial situation. You know, we want to, like Dr. Bean said, we want to make our varsity field something, you know, that's up here at this level, and put that money into two fields. If we're going to use two fields, we're going to put that kind of money into both those fields. Well, I guess it'd be kind of expensive.
There, you just explained it, Larry. You just told people that you're not going to put them the same amount of money.
No, yeah, we're not going to. Why would you put a big press box up into a junior high field when they wouldn't even use that thing? Just makes sense to me. I mean, why would you spend that kind of money for a junior high field? I'm not saying we wouldn't use it, but why would you put that kind of money into a junior high field when it wouldn't probably even be used?
There are some great facilities out there, like with Delta and softball tournaments and things like that, that I presume communities probably take care of some of those, but we don't have that many fields.
They got a lot of money given to them to build that. I mean, that's a lot of money right there.
I mean, the thing that we've done is we've made decisions all the way through this, and kids have came to us and said, and I'm not saying which kids. I mean, there's a few kids that, how come baseball and softball does not have a home field? And what can I tell them? I can't tell them why. So that was a decision that was made back then just because we wanted to make it even at that time.
That right there tells me that we should make a decision on this because we're here for the kids. And if they're asking for it, then we need to make a decision on it for them.
Well, if there's anybody in the room that thinks that there's not going to be some people disappointed in certain aspects of what are done in a reorganization, they're mistaken. I mean, we've all given up something that we would like to have had. That's part of this thing. There's compromise, there's adjustments. We've all made those adjustments. I'm proud to be a part of this 10-member board that has really worked hard together to get down to the point of what are we talking about? What is it that we want to do? We've been very fortunate here. We've had some discussions that have gotten pretty hot, but by the same token, we've made the decisions and then we've supported it. And as a group of 10, I think we're pretty cohesive. And that's what, you know, we have to make these decisions now for this district, for this new school. And they're not always going to be popular ones. And all of us are going to give something up. But
I just have a question. I just want to make sure that, you know, like, I think it's great that, you know, you decided, because you got 4 communities to work with. But my question is, next year you're not going to come back and say, gosh, that was way too hard to have softball in Wall Lake and in baseball in Sac City. We can't do it, so we're both going to bring them to Sac City.
I don't see that happening.
You don't see that?
We've been through this how many years?
Well, we've done it 3.
We've done it 3 years, and the first year we went through it, we came to the board and asked the first year, and you know, they didn't think it was the time at the first year, and I could understand why, because everything was new. Because we saw the bumps in the road then, and so then we thought, well, you know, it's been 3-4 years, whatever we went through it, so we thought maybe now would be time to come back and ask again. And we just think, you know, to make it even,
right.
One community has one, and the other community has the other. Because the problems that we've seen where going half and half is communication problems, you know, with officials, other schools know where we're playing, if that parents, you know, from other schools, just those type of things that you run into. You know, it's not like during the school year where they can just call the school and say, you know, this or that, or, you know, there's a communication line in the summer is a little bit more, not quite as good as what during the school year, and so we run into a lot of things like that. And that's on my part of it, is trying to, you know, trying to keep the officials and the schools, and I know we're changing games. We might have a few games early in the season that get canceled, and so then we move them, so they get moved later in the year, and we're supposed to be playing down here, but well, so then we move one game up that we have playing later at Wall Lake, we move it back to Sac, and it just gets so confusing.
Yeah.
And it's just been, a nightmare at times, but you know, we've gotten through it, but we just thought it would be easier, and I don't know, I think we came up with some good points on the reasons why we think we should go with it. And you know, I really haven't really heard all that many reasons why not, to tell you the truth.
I've had a few people, as I told you guys when I met with you, I've had a few people call me who were opposed to the idea. I was initially opposed too, because I have granddaughters who will be on the softball team, a grandson who will be on the baseball team. I'm going to have to decide which place I'm going to go. I don't like that, but you know, should we make the decision based on what I like? I don't think so. I think we should make it based on what is best for the kids and the program.
I've talked to several parents who have kids involved, and they understand what I've heard. And some had the same situation where they had 2 kids playing, but they said, we'll just have to split. So.
Well, what happens when they play one at home and one away? You can't go watch both of them then.
Exactly.
It is confusing to have it half and half.
Do we need a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for baseball and sack and softball and Wallet.
Second.
Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed?
Is anybody
4 to 1, Frank.
Is anybody prepared to make a motion for the WLBA?
I'll make that same motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. WLBA board, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary.